Unless you're living under a rock, you have heard of the Star Trek franchise in some form. There were 5 live-action TV shows, 12 movies, a cartoon, and a mountain of merchandise, spanning 6 decades in total. One of those live-action TV shows was Enterprise, released in 2001 and lasting only 4 seasons before getting canned due to poor ratings. You might not be too familiar with this particular iteration of the Star Trek universe, and it's probably the least memorable of the TV shows. But for me, it's one more patch of fabric in the big, beautiful quilt that is the Star Trek universe. Suck it, Abrams! You see, I'm a massive Star Trek fan and collector. You put a piece of Star Trek memorabilia in front of me, and I'll do whatever it takes to add it to my collection. I own every episode of every Star Trek series on VHS and DVD, and if we ever get Blu-ray releases, you can bet I'll be all over that too. I have VHS and DVD versions of all 11 films currently released, and look to expand to Blu-ray there as well. I even have multiple format recordings of the cartoon. And of course, I have shelves of Vulcan ears, toy phasers, Captain Kirk karate chop action figures, scale models of all the Enterprise ships, and hundreds of other Star Trek toys I've managed to track down over the years. Jealous? Of course you are. It's a pretty massive, impressive collection. I work very hard to keep it all in very good shape. And it's probably all worth tens of thousands of dollars to the right person. Just don't think for a second I'm selling any of it. It's big, impressive collections like this that can get a man laid. So yeah. We all have our obsessions, and for me, it's expanding my Star Trek collection. I'm constantly popping in and out of collector shops and conventions to find new things to add, and I spend 4 nights a week working a glory hole in Olive Garden to fund it. The point is, I don't think Enterprise is an amazing show or anything, but I'm not one of those Star Trek snobs who thinks the series is an insult to the franchise. I enjoy it, and I pursue Enterprise memorabilia with the same passion that I pursue memorabilia from any of the other Star Trek franchises. A few weeks ago, I was at a local collector shop that I frequently make my Star Trek purchases from. At this point, he almost never gets anything in that I don't already have. But I'll buy multiple copies of the same piece as long as I like the condition. I went past the Starfleet uniform rack and started to go over the ship models when something caught my eye. There was a dust cover to a VHS tape on the floor next to the base of the uniform rack. I bent down to pick it up. The spine read, Star Trek Enterprise, the lost episode /S. Episodes? Shouldn't that be a parenthesis, an opening and closing parentheses? Okay. I'm sorry. Okay. Of course, I got really excited at first. I didn't possess and have never heard of the lost episode of Enterprise, so this would be a real gem of a find. It took a second or two for me to realize that some text on the spine of the dust cover didn't necessarily mean anything. Maybe it was a joke, or maybe the cover had been labeled by someone who didn't know the official names of the episodes. I thought of episode 410, Dallas, in which the inventor of the transporter, Dr. Emery Erickson, conducted an experiment to try to find his long-lost son. Maybe the lost episode was just a way to refer to the lost son. So I opened the cover up. The VHS tape inside didn't look like an officially distributed copy, but rather one that you could buy blank to record something onto. The top label had been marked with red marker and read Enterprise, Lost Episode /S. Damn it! That's not how it works. That's not proper English grammar rule. Ditto the label on the front. Nothing else of interest. I took it up to the proprietor of the shop, and he said that he had no recollection of taking the tape in, and that his store hasn't ever carried a VHS tape. My sack of shit. He reasoned someone must have dropped it there by accident, and that it must have happened in the last 3 days, as he had definitely looked in that area while cleaning the floor 4 days ago. Hire a part-timer to do that. He said he'd have to keep a hold of it for 3 months to give the owner a chance to come pick it up. I asked him if I could play it to see what was on it, but he didn't have a VCR. Now, however, I know this guy really well, and I've given him thousands of dollars worth of business over the years. So he said I could borrow it for the night to check it out. Later that day, I got home and went into my Star Trek Fortress of Solitude, which included a TV and VCR that I kept around to play my VHS collection. I put the tape in, noting with satisfaction that the prior owner had been nice enough to rewind it, so I hit play. There was no cold opening, and the video instead went right into the opening theme. Ah, yes, the ever-polarizing opening theme that sparked angry fan petitions to get it removed. I'll admit, the use of a Rod Stewart song doesn't exactly get me in the mood to watch an episode of Star Trek. But nowadays, I just find it funny. Anyway, this episode featured the full version of the opening theme, not the abridged one commonly used. The video was normal, but there was something very wrong with the audio. Russell Watson was singing a song with similar lyrics and the same tune as the actual song, Where My Heart Will Take Me. But it wasn't the same song. The lyrics had been changed. It's been a long road, getting from the kitchen to the toilet. It's been a long time. It's time to finally take a shit. And I can feel the change in the bells right now. Nothing's blocking up the way. And I'm not gonna hold it back no more. I'm gonna take that shit right now. I was really confused at this toilet humor abuse. It sounded like Russell Watson's voice and the production values were normal, but all of the lyrics had been changed to make the song about someone trying to take a shit. As someone who has watched every episode of Enterprise, I can safely tell you that the show has nothing to do with taking a shit. I just sat there in a stupor as the song played. The entire thing was altered to be about a guy who was very proud of taking shits and enjoyed the freedom of being able to take a shit. It didn't make any sense at all. I was starting to get scared. In the credits, the song title had even been changed to Where My Butt Will Take Me. Other than that, everything in the video was normal until the very end. After the song finished, a title card flashed on screen for a few seconds, and the title card read, Face of the